Y'all, does being from the streets give you any type of advantage in the boxing game? In boxing, do you have an advantage against your opponent if you're from the streets? Does it help you in that squared circle, right? And I asked that question because I watched Bozy Ennis, Mr. Bozy Ennis, the father of Jerron Boots Ennis. He was basically being interviewed and he was asked about the Terence Crawford versus Errol the Truth Spence Jr. fight, right? And he basically was saying that Bud is from the streets. So Errol Spence Jr. is going to have to kill Bud to take him out. Like Bud is not going to lay down. He's not going to go down. You're going to have to kill him to get him up out of there. Because Bud is from the streets. He's a street dude. You know what I mean? Through and through. He really from the streets. He got a street background. So he will not lay down. And so I'm going to say this. I get what Mr. Bozy Ennis was talking about when he said that. You know, I get what he's saying. You know, because when some guys, I'm not going to say all guys, but some certain set of guys, when they're from the streets, they have a certain pride and resiliency built up inside of them that will not allow them to lay down or cower to another man in that squared circle, right? No matter who they get in the ring with, some guys that from the street, they have that in them and they won't go down easy. They will fight to the finish because of that pride and resiliency that comes from the streets, without question. But I want to say this as well. Fam, that street shit don't really matter in boxing. And you can ask Adrian Broner, Mr. Zab Judah, and Mike Tyson. All three of those dudes, with the exception of Adrian Broner, because Chino Maidana was really running the streets in Argentina from what I heard. He was really a street dude in Argentina. But the other two names that other two individuals that I named, Zab Judah and Mike Tyson, were both defeated by non-street dudes when they got in that squared circle. Kasha Zoo was not no street dude at all. But he had Zab on Bambi legs out there in that ring. And the ref had to stop the fight. And probably because Zab got up way too quick after he got knocked down. Because that pride again, that pride in it, and being from the hood, that pride he had, he didn't want to look in the crowd and see his other folks from the hood looking at him hurt. So he had to pop up real quick and he was on Bambi legs. But he got beat by a dude that wasn't from the hood. That's the point of what I'm saying. Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield and lost and got whooped. Got his ass whooped twice. And Evander not no street dude. Evander is a God-fearing man that goes to church all the time. He talks about God just as much as he talks about his mama in interviews. And Evander is my second favorite heavyweight of all time. I love Evander Holyfield. Right? But Evander wasn't no street dude. Evander he liked women a whole lot because he got a kid in every single state. But he wasn't no street dude. And he still whooped on the bully, the biggest, baddest street dude in the world, Mike Tyson. Right? So I want to say that street shit don't really matter in boxing, right? In the case of Adrian Broner, yes, his street resiliency made him always get up when he was fighting Marcos Maidana, right? Whenever he got knocked down, he always got up. Their resiliency and pride in him was beating so strong that he always got up, and he fought to the finish. That street pride made him fight to the finish. But at the end of the day, y'all, Adrian Broner got beat up. Adrian Broner got beat up in that fight. Even though he's a street dude and all this and all that, he got beat up. Case at the end of the day, right? The street shit only helps a fighter depending on who that fighter is. And yes, Terence Crawford is a great fighter for sure. And it builds up a lot of resiliency in him, right? Even when he got knocked down against Kavalauskas, Mean Machine, they didn't count it. But the resiliency in him made him turn it up a notch, right? But I'm going to say this. Being from the hood does not give you a great chin. It does not give you a good beard. It does not. A lot of dudes, they can be from the hood all they want to, but they chinny, and as soon as you clip them the right way, they going down, right? And being from the hood does not allow you to have a great defense. You can be from the hood all you want to, but if you get hit with the wrong shit, the wrong number of times, it's going to hurt and wear you down to the point where you become susceptible to more shots, and then you end up losing a fight. You might not get knocked out. That hood resiliency might not cause you to get knocked out, but you still end up getting pummeled and you lose. And I'm not saying that's the case for this fight with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, because I feel like the fight is 50-50. For real, I'm going for Errol Spence Jr. for sure. Y'all know that from watching my channel. But I want to say, man, like, people make that point about being from the streets. I've seen street dudes get knocked out all the time. And I've seen street dudes get knocked out in boxing a lot, a whole lot. So that will not be the deciding factor in Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford. And that fight, being from the streets, is not going to determine the winner of this fight at all. It's going to be about the dude who out there who lands the most significant shots, who outlands the other guy and gets the better of the opponent. It's not going to be about the streets and none of that. That's not going to matter, right? Also, you're going to have to kill Errol Spence Jr. in that ring to get him up out of there too, right? You're going to have to kill him as well. He's not going to lay down for you or anybody. Even though, because I know people look at Errol Spence Jr. with this lens, yes, Errol is from a suburban area. However, no matter if he's from the suburbs, he got dog in him, he got resiliency, and he got a mental fortitude that is second to none. Like, seriously. The way he stays composed in that ring, he doesn't get rattled. The way he fights through all type of adversity. The way when he gets into that ring and some guy could be coming at him with a kamikaze like Sean Porter, and his ability to remain calm and composed. He cannot be swayed. He cannot be rattled. That's dog shit coming out. I don't care what nobody say. That's dog shit coming out from a dude that's not from the hood per se, right? Errol Spence Jr., a guy that's from what we know is not from the hood, but he still got that dog shit in him to where he's not going to lay down. You're going to have to bully and beat him up, batter him, and kill him to stop him. Even if you batter him, he's still going to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. He's for real. He's the big engine that could, or the big fish that could, in his opinion, right? He's going to keep coming, right? And at the end of the day, no matter if you're from the hood or not, if you can fight, you can fight. Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali, they was not dudes from street backgrounds at all, but they will still whoop your ass. You can be from North Dakota, China, or New Hampshire. It don't matter. For real, I done seen the roughest, toughest dudes in my neighborhoods of Chicago, Illinois, Southside Chicago, Illinois. I done seen some of the roughest dudes get whooped, got their ass whooped, got split open from dudes that were from well-off or affluent neighborhoods, right? Dudes that wasn't even from the streets like that. Got the best of them and gave them that business and gave them hands. Because a lot of the dudes from the city, a lot of the dudes from some of the wildest hoods used their hoods as a smoke screen for them so they wouldn't get their ass whooped. I'm from this block, I'm from this hood, and they was pounding their chest, hollering and shouting, they from this block, they from this hood, so dudes wouldn't mess with them. That was their smoke screen. But it's some dudes that don't give a fuck about where you from, what your background is, what gang you was in. They don't care about you being shot, this, that, and the third. They don't care. They want to see you. They want that action, right? And this is what's going to happen in this fight. Errol Spence Jr. is not intimidated by Terence Crawford because he's from the block. And Terence Crawford is not intimidated by Errol Spence. These are two guys that are not afraid of each other that's going to come to fight at the end of the day, right? And again, I know dudes from suburban areas in Chicago, like from the outskirts of Chicago, suburban areas, they got more heart than the dudes that grew up in the hood. I know suburban dudes from the Chi, suburban dudes from the outside areas of the Chi, they got more heart than dudes that I grew up with in my neighborhood that act bad and act tough and tote guns. But it's a lot of dudes from the suburban areas, they got way more heart than they do. Seriously, right? The dudes in the hood got a loud bark. And they use the hood as a smoke screen to stop them from getting their ass whooped. I've seen it so much. I'm not saying that's the case in this fight against Terence Crawford because Terence can actually fight. He can get down, he can thump without question. But I'm trying to say that being from the hood just gives you a little bit more resiliency to keep getting up. But it ain't gonna help you win no fight. Dudes might have just pride and just keep taking a beating and keep getting up and keep getting up. That ain't going to give you the win. That ain't going to give you the victory, though. So a dude might not get stopped, but he can still get beat up on. Again, being from the streets is not going to determine the winner of this fight. You know what I mean? And I get it. Terence Crawford got a mean streak in him, right? He got a mean streak in him. And Errol Spence doesn't really show his mean side that much. But when he get in the ring, he do. But he don't really show it that much from the outside appearance, right? He talks shit for sure. When Mars be talking shit at him, he done threw shots at Bomac in him recently. But from the most part, he really kind of stays even keel. Bud displays a lot of that aggression and anger that people like to see, right? And a lot of people like to see aggression and anger in certain athletes, so they favor that. The same way people favor Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant over Tim Duncan or LeBron James, right? But I want to say this. Terence got that mean streak for sure, and he shows it visibly, even at the weigh-ins and all this and all of that, right? And Errol doesn't really show it as much as Terence. He doesn't really show it all on the outset in his outside demeanor. But just like Terence is coming to hurt Errol Spence, you better believe Errol Spence is coming to hurt Terence Crawford just as well. They both are coming to hurt each other. Terence coming to hurt Errol, and you better believe Errol is coming to hurt Terence for sure, right? And that, you know, that outside dog stuff, it get a lot of people all mixed up and a lot of people confused. Because, and I'm going to use this example. Kevin Garnett was a mean, rough, rugged dude that talked a lot of shit, that had a scowl on his face at all times, that had a big bark. He would talk shit. He was great at hooping, though. He's a great, outstanding hooper. Hall of Famer, certified bucket getter, and an absolute dog on the court. But he talked shit. He was rough and rugged. He was mean. He had a certain scowl on his face. He had a certain little demeanor about him that was mean and nasty and mad, right? But the stoic, nice guy, Tim Duncan, always got the better of Kevin Garnett, right? And he won way more championships than KG. And Tim Duncan is looked at as the greatest power forward of all time, despite him not having this outside dog and this stoic appearance. He's a greater power forward than I'm about to say Terence Crawford, than Kevin Garnett. And they both played the same position, right? But Tim Duncan is looked at as the all-time better player, and he's not a dude that's from the hood. He's from the Virgin Islands. He's a nice guy. He's, you know, from a nice, I mean, we believe he's from a nice background. He's stoic. He doesn't get into the rough and rugged, mean talk and none of that shit. He don't put on all those histrionics, but he was a certified dog on that court. It's the same instance in this way, right? Terence Crawford got Kevin Garnett up in him. Errol Spence got Tim Duncan up in him. Nonetheless, they both dogs. They both dogs. Don't think Errol Spence is a poodle because he got the Tim Duncan approach. Because he's not flashy. He don't use a whole lot of outside aggression. He doesn't, he don't do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He talks shit, but he don't do all that aggressive way, the way certain dudes in the hood like to see it. Because certain dudes in the hood from around my way in Chicago, they like to see more of the Terence Crawford stuff. They like to see the KG shit. But I say, like I told y'all, when KG was hooping, Tim Duncan was better than him. It wasn't just that he had the better team, and Tim Duncan had the better team, but I feel like he was a better power forward. Even though he didn't display all that other extra shit, right? So some guys have a look, and they look at certain stuff, they look at this dude from the hood and say, oh, he do this and he do that, oh, he from the hood. Some dudes got killer in them without having to do all that over-the-top stuff. They don't have to do certain things. They don't have to talk mean and nasty and be all that. They don't got to do all of that. Because they know in them beats that dog shit that matters in that ring. So the street shit is not going to play a part in who wins this fight at all. Some guys are just good at what they do. And that street shit don't mean a thing to them. They just good at it. They good, great fighters. That street shit, they don't let that rattle them. Whatever, you can be from the streets all you want to. You still going to get beat. You know what I'm saying? This fight is a 50-50 fight. I got Errol Spence Jr. But I'm just saying, like, street stuff don't really, that don't make or break a fight for real because you from the streets. Like, I've seen it in boxing so many times. Dudes being a street dude and go up there and get whooped on. Whooped on, man. And it happens, man. I've just seen it happen a lot of different times, man. So yeah, the street shit has an appeal to a lot of the dudes from around my way. I'm not fooled by that though. I'm not saying Bud is not legit. He's an excellent fighter, outstanding fighter, Hall of Fame worthy fighter for sure. But I don't let that shit sway me because I've seen that shit not mean nothing at the end of the day. I'm from the hood all day long, and I got the demeanor. Most people think I'm from the suburbs because I don't go around mean and shit. I'm from the hoods of Chicago. I done lived in almost every hood you can think of in Chicago. I was living in Grove City when I was a kid. I was living close to O Block when I was a kid. I was living on the low end, 48th in Indiana. My people from the Robert Taylor Projects. I was living at 87th Street. I was in the Wild Hunters on 104th. You know what I'm saying? Right off Halsted. Right over there close to 10 Trey. All them different neighborhoods. And I still got this demeanor. And you can't hold me. I'm a school kid that went to school route and all that. But people think I'm from the suburbs because I got a demeanor like I'm just a cool, chill dude. I don't put on that. I don't put on all that. When I went to college at Mississippi Valley State University, dudes thought I was from the suburbs because I did not act like Chief Keef and all them running around trying to beat my chest. But a lot of the dudes from the suburban areas outside of the Chi, they was bringing their ass to school in Mississippi, acting like they was from the crib, doing all that extra shit, hollering, yelling, acting like they was tough, like they was Big GD, Big BD in Chicago. When they come home, they got to cut that shit out and sit the fuck down, right? So I say that don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean nothing. I got an outsider demeanor. You think I'm from the suburbs, but you can't hold me. It's not going to happen. Unless you got a gun. That's it. But other than that, man, like, you know, this fight is not going to be determined by no street stuff, man. I get what Mr. Bozy Ennis was saying, but the best fighter is going to win that fight. Whoever lands the most significant shots, whoever outlands the other guy at the end of the day, man. That's what I have to say. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the fight and y'all think about this topic in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out. Peace.